Hello. So today we're going to be discussing ratios and percents. Ratios and proportions. A ratio is a quotient of two quantities. And three ways to write a ratio is 1 to 2 with words, 1 to 2, or 1 over 2 with a fractional divisional little bar there, right? Or 1 with a colon 2. So three ways to write them, right? And then we have a ratio is also read as the ratio of 1 to 2. So if you were to write a ratio of 12 to 17 using fractional notation, then it would be 12 over 17. And notice, as I fix the pen here, that it says fractional notation. And that is how they would want you to write it as a fraction. Okay, that's the difference. This one is write the ratio of $15 to $10 in simplest form. So you would do 15 over 10, and then the simplest form, I believe we discussed on another video, is that you reduce it, right? You could use 15, ABC 10, and you would get 1 1/2. Or you could do 3 to 2. It's an improper fraction. You see how they want it on the test. But for every $3, $2 was earned. For every $3 spent, $2 was earned. I don't know how they would say it in a word sentence. So ratios are not written in mixed numbers. So that's probably why we had to go back and put it into an improper fraction. They're not written in mixed numbers. Awesome. Next. Given the rectangle shown, find the ratio of its width to length. 5 feet being the length, 7 feet being the width. And then find the ratio of its length to its perimeter. So there's a little bit of a difference here, right? So width to length, 7 to 5, because 7 was the width and 5 was the length. Okay? Find the ratio of its length to its perimeter. Well, you have to know that the perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And then you set that up in the formula, and you would have the length, which was 5, to its perimeter, which is 24, and you would do 5 to 24. Next is ratios are used to compare different kinds of quantities. A runner can run 3 miles in 33 minutes. Write this rate as a fraction. This could be a word problem that you may have, right? 3 miles to 33 minutes. Write it in simplest form. It's 1 over 11. So, 10 nails for every 6 feet is going to be used. It's nails to feet, 10 to 6, or 5 to 3. 5 nails will be used for every 3 feet. 2160 for 12 weeks. Someone makes, it was probably a longer sentence, and I kind of shortened it for the board. So, Brandon makes $2,160 for 12 weeks. How much does he make a week? Well, you would do money to weeks, and you would divide by 12, and you would come up with 180 for everyone. Always put that number at the bottom. He made $180 for every 1 week. Every week he made $180. 360 miles on 16 gallons of gas. Well, it would be 45 miles to 2 gallons of gas, right? 45 miles to 2 gallons of gas. So, all right, let's see. What's next? Determining whether proportions are true. Now, this is the proportion section of it. We'll continue with this, and then we'll probably stop after the proportion. So, a proportion is a statement that is two ratios, or rates are equal. And if you wanted to know if they were equal, I think we talked about comparing fractions, you would do that kind of butterfly effect and multiply them cross multiplying and see if they equal, and 5 is to 6 as 10 is to 12, you would write it like this using cross products to determine whether proportions are true. This would be that formula. If equal, proportions are true. If not equal, the proportion is false. So that's how you would figure that out. And again, if I'm going too fast, guess what you get to do? Rewind and re-listen, okay? All right. Next, is 2/3 equal to 4/6 a true proportion? And this would be your solution, and you would say, in this case we said true because we can multiply these both by 2 and get 4/6. Or we could cross multiply and each side would equal 12, it would still be true. Okay, so 4 is 4.1 over 7 equal to 2.9 over 5, a true proportion. And you would multiply them and you would say false, because why? They do not equal. Okay? Next. Finding the unknown numbers and proportions. Pay close attention. N over 30 equals 2 to 3. You're going to cross multiply and divide. Cross multiply and divide. An unknown number is the n, it's the variable. It could be x, it could be s, it could be r. Usually they use an n or x. So you multiply, cross multiply. 3 times n, 30 times 2. Little bit of pre-algebra right here. You're solving for the unknown stuff, right? It's the algebraic concepts. So you do 3n equals 60. You take the 3 and you divide, because this is asking you what times 3 gives you 60. And you would find out that 60 divided by 3 would be 20. And so I wrote it out here again so you could see it. Divide by 3 on both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you're going to have to do to another side. Find the value of the unknown number in n. Again, cross multiply. This is just another problem that I slapped up there. So 51 over 34 equals 3 over n. And you would do 51 times n, 34 times 3. Divide by 51, and you would get 2. What times 51 gives you 102 as the answer? That's what it's asking, right? 51 times n. It's asking you. Opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I divide by 51, and I get a 2. Next. Oh, this was supposed to be your turn. It's already done for you. You can stop this camera or stop your video, and you can write down the problems and you can solve them yourself on a separate paper, but this would be the answers. And if it's a decimal, you can round to the nearest hundredth, so we're good. Solving problems by writing proportions on a Chamber of Commerce map of Abita Springs. 5 miles corresponds to 2 inches. How many miles corresponds to 7 inches? Proportion again, right? Miles to inches. This is kind of understanding how word problem works. Understand the question, set up the problem, solve it, check your work. Understand the questions. 5 miles for 2 inches. How many miles for 7 inches? I set it up proportion-wise. I'm going to be 5m to 2 inches, n to 7 inches. Miles, right? M means miles, just in case you're wondering. And n over 7 inches. So I cross multiply. I get 35 2n divide by 2. N is going to be 17 and a half, 17.5, however you want to do it. Is it true? Yeah, because when I cross multiply both sides, they're both equal, so it would be a true statement. Your turn. Well, again, this is set up for you, so stop at this point, read the question. Don't look at this yet. See if you can get all these steps down on a piece of paper separately from what you're writing on now. And then we're going to stop for here. So thank you. Take care.